You just sound great. Like, what would be the god of podcasting? What do we have watching over us?
So I don't know about the god of podcasting, but I think I can tell you maybe the patron saint of podcasting, who I think is Eleanor Roosevelt.
Ooh. Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Magic the Gathering. I'm Tim.
I'm Juliet.
We got another design challenge this week. You send in all your submissions after we sent you all a challenge, and we're going to go through all those cards and talk about them, what things we like about them, what technology we like, what surprises us, what we think is entertaining.
Yeah.
What was our challenge?
So our May design challenge was May BC, design an elder. We've seen in Magic, a lot of elder dragons, the occasional elder angel, or elder demons are also a big feature. But kind of being open-ended on an elder what do you think? And it's going to be somewhat bent by our bonus points here, which are ABCs, use every letter of the alphabet somewhere on the card, and DEF, give it a defensive keyword. So reach, defender, indestructible, vigilance, or ward.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, you have to have the elder type on there, but I think we're maybe also hoping for something that makes it seem like this is an old, powerful, cool thing in some way.
Yeah, I think elder dragons and elder dinosaurs and that sort of thing are of an earlier age, of a primordial or antediluvian sort of age.
Yeah, somehow this creature survived for hundreds of years, despite being like just a big dinosaur or whatever, and we want to know why. We also got like a huge crop of elders with the new Final Fantasy set, so I'm still kind of digesting the way that elder was used there, but it just seems to be dudes who are powerful who have their arms outstretched. It seems to be
that could be. I am certainly not an expert in the lore of all of the Final Fantasy games, but Final Fantasy 1 and 14, at the very least, both have there was a time before this, sort of, because the realm was reborn in a way. And so I would guess, again, this is not me spoiling anything because I don't know. Some of the characters might be like, oh, they were a menace in the before time. And now they are back to menace once again.
Awesome. All right, why don't we get the first card?
Great. Our first submission is from VT Basemat. It's Mandel. It's Mandel Blot, but I feel like I should pronounce it Mandel Blow, like a Mandelbrot sequence,
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So its mana cost is interesting. It's a 2-brid blue hybrid, a 2-brid green hybrid, and then a green-blue hybrid. It's a mythic legendary creature, Elder Fractal, and it starts as a 0/0. Blot enters with a number of +1/+1 counters on it, equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. Which, if you're spending just the normal way, you could spend 3 mana, 4 mana, or 5 mana, according to the 2-brids and everything. So it enters with that many +1/+1 counters. It has Ward X, where X is its power. And then it has pay a blue or green hybrid, remove a +1/+1 counter from Blot, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, put a +1/+1 counter on each other fractal you control. And since its juvenile years as a quadratic polynomial, f of z with a subscript c equals z squared plus c, or z to the power of 2 plus c, I'm not sure, never diverged. Since its juvenile years as a quadratic polynomial, this function never diverged. And it's the art is like of a fractal spiral.
Yeah. The first thing that jumps out to me is some technology that I really have enjoyed on another card, which is +1/+1 counters equal to the mana spent to pay that. I used to play the commander deck for Verizal, the split current, who's the serpent who enters with, is X blue-green, enters as that many. So if you spend 5 mana, you get a 5/5, and then uses those counters for something. Blot's the same way. We're going to enter with a bunch of counters. We're going to use those counters for something. You don't have full reign to spend as much mana you want on blot or blow, as you were saying. But I think one of the notable things about this wording is that it's like very compatible with commanders. Because if you're paying command tax, you're paying more mana for it. So you're coming out with like, yeah, you're spending more mana, but you're getting a bigger and bigger creature every time you cast this.
Mm-hmm. Can come out as a 3/3 the first time, and maybe even a 7/7 the second time, depending on how things are going.
Yeah, and that might actually be a decent way to play this, where you sort of like play it for 3, and then like over the next couple turns, just like pay all the counters to get it killed. Pay so many counters that it's a 0/0, and then it goes back to the command zone. Then you bring it back out, and now you have like a lot of ammunition to grow all these fractals that you have.
Mm-hmm.
I think fractals were also like the Strixhaven type.
Right, for Quandrix, I think the blue-green math is magic.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine, Tim, that you have a deeper or broader background with math than I do.
Oh, not enough to get the joke for this function, but
Okay.
fractals are one of the things you do, or you do a program for early in like computer programming
Mhm,
classes, because it's like a relatively small amount of work for something that is like really cool looking.
mhm.
But beyond doing that like 20 years ago, I don't have a lot of experience with fractals.
Yeah. It's a set of math where if you keep zooming, you could keep zooming, and it kind of replicates
Yeah.
the thing that you were seeing before in some kind of way.
Yeah, I think that something about like removing a counter from this to create another one is fractally.
Mhm.
And then I guess the other thing to kind of think about is this eldery to you? Does this feel like the super fractal?
Oh. It feels like the ooze fractal
Oh
to me.
no. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I expect some sort of like exponential limit to things.
Oh.
I'm like, this should come up against the edge of infinity some way. I
Hmm.
don't know that it does except by recasting it. And maybe that's like too much to ask for a like
Hmm.
magic card that's also designed to be played.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying. There are like magic situations where you get into the, turn 9 I have 10 power on the board, turn 10 I have 100, turn 11 I have 1,000. Like just
Mhm.
like this really quickly growing thing. And blot here doesn't grow that explosively. I think the power level is in a good spot, but it's not like it doesn't create this sort of dreamy, like, oh my god, I'm going to have like 800,000 creatures. I'm going to need like a math notation to convey the number of creatures that I control or something.
The one thing it does do is give you a bunch of fractal tokens that probably all have
Hmm.
exactly different power. Like none of the fractals have the same powers as one another, which
Yeah.
is that's great for doing combat math on a board. You're like, okay, which of these is the 3/3, the 4/4, the 7/7, the 8/8, the
100%.
9/9?
Yeah. I think this is a super cool card. And Elder is like the vaguest,
Uh-huh.
requirement that we have. But yeah, maybe to be like the ultimate fractal, you're looking for something that feels like it could go not infinite and like specifically not infinite, but just indefinite.
Mhm.
um,
There are 16 cards that mention fractals and 2 actual cards with creature type fractals.
hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah, there was Zimone recently who makes Primo the Indivisible, which is also a legendary fractal.
Very fun.
And we have a defensive keyword. We got ward, and then
Mhm. Oh, right. Let's
uh,
let's our first alphabet counting.
yeah,
Okay, so
you made this bet. You get
A,
to lay in it.
B, C, D is in ward, E is in enters, F is in fractal,
Mm.
G is green, H is I apologize for this terrible radio. Where's an H?
Where?
Okay, yeah, where? H. I'm just
Yeah,
trusting there's an I. So, yeah,
yeah.
juvenile. I.
Juvenile. Yeah.
J is juvenile.
Where's the
K
K?
is
This bit is gonna be
huh?
so crazy.
I don't think I see the K.
Quadrat. No, that's a C. K.
Token.
Token. Whew.
Yes.
All right. All right.
Okay. MNOP
Q quadratic. Yeah.
quadratic. RSTUV. W is in ward.
Ward. Yeah,
X
yeah,
is in the cost.
yeah,
Y is in legendary.
yeah.
And
Z is the function
Z.
parameter.
Oh, Z is the function. Okay, great. There we go. Congratulations.
There we go. Good job, Blow. All right.
What's our next card?
Next up, we've got Perry K's card, Sphinx of Black Quartz. 2 white, blue, black. Artifact creature Elder Sphinx, flying vigilance and ward 2. And it has an ability vow, dash, and then a work in progress. Like maybe, I don't know, Perry intended to come back to this one. And it's a 5/5. Should we hit the spoiler text right away? So we got 5 mana, 5/5. It's like a super
So
Serenade.
before you tick the spoiler text, are you familiar with the idea of a Sphinx of Black Quartz?
Yeah, Sphinx of Black Quartz, heed my vow is like a, a more cool version of a lazy brown.
You're really close. There's a different verb there,
Okay.
which will give us the J, which I'm pretty sure Perry K will mention here. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a classic pangram, Sphinx of Black Quartz, judge my vow. Where's the word judge, though? You say it as soon as your opponent casts this spell, because it's an unfinished card. You go, judge.
Oh, okay. Judge.
What does this do?
Oh, that's in the spoiler text here. Yeah. Where's the word judge, though? You say it as soon as your opponent casts this spell. Oh, okay. We were fooled. We thought this was a leftover work in progress card, but it's just a sweet gag.
I think Sphinx of Black Quartz is an Elder Sphinx. If you had vow something to do with judge, I think we could get the word judge into the rules text and have this be like a fun acorn card.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since we got a Perry K card at the design challenge, so I'm glad to have him back.
Mm-hmm. Our next submission is from Journey Mage Huge. It's Kraj Reemerged. XX black green blue for a has power toughness star. It's a legendary creature Elder Ooze mutant at Mythic. When you cast this spell, exile X target creatures from graveyards. Then ward, pay X life. And this creature has power equal to the exiled creature's combined power, toughness equal to the exiled creature's combined toughness, and has all abilities of each exiled creature.
So if I want to hit one creature, it's 5, 2 creatures is 7, and so on. I get the combined power and toughness, and then I get all abilities.
Mm-hmm. It's like Sutured Ghoul, who I think we've talked about on one of the previous design challenges. The card from Judgment that's like 4 black, a 7 mana zombie from back in the old day that you exile any number of creature cards from the graveyard and it gets the power equal to their power and toughness equal to their total toughness. But this one, we're paying XX black, green, blue to exile X number rather than any number, and we're getting their abilities, which is probably what you're gonna you want to be. Is it Necrotic Ooze? Is that the one that pulls all the abilities from the graveyard and people use to do like devoted druid style combos and things?
And then original Kraj was like one of the original Ravnica, I guess it would have been Dissension cards. That Experiment Kraj has all the abilities of creatures with +1/+1 counters on them, like creatures in play with counters on them, and then it could hand out counters. So it was kind of like a fun early commander where you could do a similar thing to Necrotic Ooze, but on the battlefield. This card is also like really, really similar to a card that was released a little while ago in Aether Drift called Mimeoplasm Revered One, which is X black, green, blue. So the same rough shape. Exile X cards from graveyards. Get size equal to the things you exiled, and then you could pay to become a copy of one of the things you exiled. Different planes are getting to the same conclusion of we're going to turn into an amalgamation of a bunch of different dead creatures.
That makes sense. This hits all the letters of the alphabet with the K and the J in the card name, and we've got the ward here.
Yeah, I guess we have to do like a Q check and a Z check, and then assume we got ooze.
Not to just compare two cards, but both being green blue kind of oozy fractal
Mm,
creatures. I think I prefer the ward X, where X is this is power, just
mm,
in terms of memory. But it may be that this version, the ward pay X life thing, is easier, but it's life. Because like pay 4 life is very different from pay 4 mana in
yeah,
terms of a ward cost to remove something. I was like, well, this keeps it low rather than
yeah.
scaling wildly. But it's life, and I would
You
rather
know,
pay 4 life than 2 mana to be able to target something.
once you pass about 2 or 3 ward, you start to enter 2 or 3 mana of ward.
Mhm,
You start to enter into the like basically hexproof zone. Like there's Kappa Cannoneer,
mhm,
which is like a modern card now and has ward 4, and that ward 4 is like really close to hexproof. Maybe frustratingly so. I don't know. So this
mhm,
Kraj saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna have like pay 5 life or whatever." Like 5 life is probably more handleable than 5 mana if
mhm.
Kraj is a problem here. Yeah, so I guess if you're hoping to have like a really large ward number, maybe it shouldn't be mana. Maybe it should be life or some other resource.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I also wonder like I don't know if the magic rules are like fully able to say like, hey, amalgamate all abilities of each exiled creature onto a card.
Yeah,
Like Necrotic
yeah.
Ooze specifically gives you activated abilities,
Mhm,
and like this other like the mimeoplasm that I was talking about turns into one of those creatures at a time. I feel like mimeoplasm would have just said this Kraj text if it was reasonable to do so. I don't really know why. Maybe we need to have like a rules episode or a judge episode. But I think there's still some barrier around just giving one creature multiple arbitrary creatures' abilities.
mhm. I mean, the kind of simple case I would think about is what if you exiled multiple different, like, Lurgoyfs
Hmm.
who
Yeah.
each have characteristic defining, like, power and toughness abilities,
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay, so is this power and toughness equal to the number of sorcery cards in all graveyards, or is
Mm.
it the number of creature types in all graveyards with a toughness +1, or is it like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there's a some kind of open questions there.
This Kraj wording is like Magic is Garfield intended style, where like what happens? I don't know. Talk to your friends and decide what happens. Like
Yeah.
what should actually happen? The judges are a little mad. They don't quite know what should exactly happen. Um,
Sometimes this idea is talked about in the form of that games should have mysticism back in
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
This came up a lot in when we were first playtesting Yuri chess,
Oh,
with the
okay, yeah.
question of how to resolve certain like potential end game states. And one of the
Mm,
answers is like, okay, just turn out the lights. Now all of the pieces are black. The game is much easier to solve. Like
mm.
because you just don't have any lights on in the room. Therefore, I and in this case, it's just like, it has all of the abilities. We'll find out when you target it. We were illusionary masking.
Yeah,
Our Kraj reemerged.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I think is also just like a great place for a custom card to be as well. Like if someone wants
Mhm.
to do like their custom commander for a regular commander deck, Kraj is going to be that fun thing of like, let's all figure out together how this should work.
Right.
All right, next up, we've got Just Nigel with Njord, Maker of Myth. This is a colorless card with no mana cost. A cool guy with a beard and multiple rainbows in the background. It's a legendary creature, Elder God, and a 5/5. When this creature is turned face up, manifest a number of cards from the top of your library equal to your devotion. Whenever a creature you control is turned face up, it gains indestructible until end of turn and you draw a card. You have no maximum hand size, and it has morph for Wooburg, white, blue, black, red, green. So you can't cast this normally. You have to morph it or manifest it or find some other way to sneak it on the battlefield.
And you definitely want some other permanents besides just 5 lands,
Mm-hmm.
because when you flip it face up, it doesn't have a mana cost. And so I'm assuming equal to your devotion is that your total
Devotion to all colors. Yeah.
devotion ended up? Or I could totally imagine Magic like defining rules text saying equal to your devotion is just whatever your highest is. I don't think that's what's
Oh,
implied by this
yeah,
card,
yeah.
but it would be very easy to imagine, like, hey, we brought devotion back, and here's the tweak. It's a bunch of stuff that says equal to
Hmm.
your devotion, and that's just your highest one.
I also would guess that this is saying your devotion to anything.
Hmm.
If you have 2 blue pips and 2 black pips, yeah, you have 4 total.
Hmm.
But I think that tweak also is kind of interesting because that would be nice and tight, which a certain brand of custom designers really appreciate. Let's condense words down.
Hmm.
And I guess this is a decent payoff for basically any permanents that are in play, like enchantments, creatures, stuff like that. Because you only need like a couple, 3 or 4 pips to be in play to like really feel like you got your mana's worth here.
Hmm.
Because you do have to Wooburg, so you're playing a variety of mana. This is certainly on the Elder scale for me. I can't even be cast. I'm so cool. Also, I have a double beard, and I have multiple rainbows. Like that definitely feels Elder style to me.
Hmm. I like the idea of tying this into like myth making in a way that this
Hmm.
for this god to show up, they have to be like walking amongst the people, and they have to be like just a face down creature,
Yes.
and
Very
then
good. Very good.
suddenly being revealed as having been like journeying as this old man around everywhere. And then suddenly here's this moment, and the amount of devotion you've built up while the god is missing
Hmm.
pays off when the god appears. It's like, oh, you've already been building up this devotion, and now you're going to get a bunch of face down creatures, which is what the god just was before. Was just a face down, and now you'll get 3 or 8 or 0 or 1 face down creatures.
There was a thing that I didn't actually know because I don't think I've ever seen it happen. Can you morph from the command zone? And you can. I don't think I've
Mm.
ever seen it happen, but I looked up like a Chroma Angel of Fury, an old morph card.
That was the first one that came to mind. I was like, "Whoa, I wonder if you could Achroma and then,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, exactly.
blink it somehow in a mono red Achroma deck."
Yeah, you can cast it face down. Yeah, you still have to pay additional costs if you like morph it 2 or 3 times out of the command zone. But yeah, you absolutely can morph from the command zone. Today I learned.
You could also be thinking about, stuff like Luris, stuff like Kitchen
Oh yeah,
Finks.
yeah,
There's a lot of, like, one and hybrid, but you might try to max it out, you might not.
yeah. I guess this is the deck to put. Well, I guess not all 10, but 9 of the companions in. Just a deck where they all get to live together.
Yeah, maybe so. We find out, when we go back to Ikoria, it's like, yeah, it's all about devotion this time. It's like, wait, I thought
Hmm.
this was a
Hmm.
multicolor Godzilla
Yeah.
set. Yeah, it is. And also, here's the god that created all of these cool animals. We're
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
shifting things up.
I don't know if we ever found out who was the voice in the Ozolith. There was like a mysterious voice inside the Ozolith calling to
It's Emrakul,
what's his name?
probably.
Oh, okay.
We just do the Innistrad plot again, but for Ikoria, but nobody notices when all the Ikoria
All
animals
the
start.
monsters get mutated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So this has it talks about indestructible, so that's reasonable. And we the J in the the J
Yep.
and the
Got a
Y
J.
and everything showing up in the card name make me think that everything is here equal
Equal.
to
So
your
we got.
devotion,
Yep.
gets us the Q, the U, and the V and everything. And maximum hand size has
Size.
the
Yeah.
X and Z.
All right. There we go. This was a subtle on the alphabet scale, I guess, except for Njord. That one was a little flagrant, but everything else is just like comfortably, really normal rules text.
And an interesting card to think about.
Yeah, yeah.
Our next submission is from Cord. It's Discarded Handmaiden. It's 2 and a green white for a 2/2 legendary artifact creature, Elder Toy. It's a
Hmm.
rare with reach, and whenever you discard a card, create a junk token. And
Hmm.
tap, sacrifice X junk, return target toy with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield. It also has a really fun ability, which is a callback here, The ability is Daytime Playmate. You can
Hmm.
have 2 commanders if the other has Nighttime Playmate. The flavor text. I would much rather have a new doll with cool letters over those things than this raggedy thing, says Queen Priscilla.
A discarded doll.
Hand me down.
Yeah. But apparently so discarded that it's been around forever and is now an elder doll.
Mm-hmm.
The queen of the discarded dolls or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Whenever you discard a card, create a junk token. And then sacrifice X junk, return target toy. So you're doing some reanimating in green-white, which I'm not going to say no to, but...
Yeah, it's probably okay on the white side because you're going to have a hard time reanimating large things with this.
Mm-hmm.
And white sometimes has like, hey, pay X and something, and then you get something with like that costs X or less, or is power X or less from your graveyard.
So junk tokens are artifacts with tap, sack this, exile the top card of your library. You can play this card this turn.
Yeah. They think just in Fallout so far.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly in a million custom cards already. I've seen this. I've seen junk tokens all over the place. Yeah, so we got reach here, and then we got discard synergy. And discard in green-white. Yeah, I think the reanimate I'm feeling is pretty green-white, but the discard aspect is still a little at least novel in green-white.
Discard to create an artifact token. Okay, I can see discard to create a junk token in particular. Like discard in order to be able to do that kind of impulse looking. Makes me think of, I think it's Inti. Yeah, Inti, Seneschal of the Sun from the most recent Ixalan set. The one where whenever you discard one or more cards, exile the top card of your library.
Inti feels quite red, so
yeah,
that makes me feel like this card is pretty red, even though it's green-white.
I think there is a lot of red-black to this green-white card, just from my personal reading or vibe.
I guess maybe if we're in some world where there's a lot of this discard stuff, a lot of this junk stuff, this is the green-whitest of the doll toys or whatever. Yeah.
I was just taking a look at the previous Nighttime Playmate card that Cord submitted for the February Design Challenge this year. It was the 8-1 for Striker that has commanders you control have protection from elders, demons, horrors, and nightmares.
All right.
So we've got some elders playing, and it was also an 8-1 for 8 that has prototype to be a 2-1 for 1 and a black.
Oh, okay.
So you could hypothetically like put out your little prototype creature at 2 mana, it dies, and then if you have enough junk, you could get it. But it's a commander, so it would probably go back to your command zone. But you probably would have other toys in this kind of. It seems like a very toy-focused set to have these different playmates and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have the Z and the card name Handme, E with an egu and Z. We have the J in the junk token. I think that might be maybe an inspiration for this design to use junk tokens. And we've got the V's and the Q's elsewhere.
Alrighty.
Yeah, with the Queen Priscilla, the man of value. Makes sense?
All right, next up we've got a card from Pat, Grandma Zoob. Zoob. White, blue, black, red, green. So 5 mana Wooburg for legendary creature Elder Zubera Spirit. Oh, okay, that's why we got Zoob. We got starting intensity too, so we got some arena mechanics. I'm excited. When this creature enters, conjure X cards from its spellbook onto the battlefield, where X is equal to its intensity. Whenever this creature or another Zubera you control dies, this creature intensifies by 1, and it's a 4/8. And then the spellbook they clarify are the 5 champions of Kamigawa Zuberas. Maybe I'll read 1 or 2 of those just so we can be in the right mindset. We've got like Silent Chant Zubera, which is a 2 mana 1/2. When it dies, you gain 2 life for each Zubera put into a graveyard from play this turn. Emberfist Zubera. When it dies, it deals damage to any target equal to the number of Zuberas that died this turn. When you play this, you get 2 random Zuberas. You can play a couple of the Zuberas in your deck naturally. With Zuberas, you got to find a way to have them all die at the same time. That's usually the thing with Zuberas.
Mm-hmm. And then if you sacrifice all of them and then cast another Grandma Zub, is that the idea? That in order to cash in the higher intensity later?
Yeah, or maybe Flicker it would probably be my first choice.
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
I guess you got 5 colors, so you probably have like the best card in each category of bringing Grandma Zoob back. You know what I mean? You've got like, oh, I'm going to bounce her with the best bounce card. I'm going to reanimate her with the best reanimate card, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Can ephemerate or similar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, ephemerate. Yeah. Double dip.
I have a hard time thinking this wouldn't have all of the letters. We've got Zubera, we've got X cards, equal, we've got legendary creature. Yeah, Conjure, that's a great one.
I mean, I guess unless they brought Grandma Zoob back with like a whole host of new Zuberas, there are only like 7 in existence already, so this card seems to all be about the enter trigger to get you your supply of Zuberas.
I mean, Zuberas are, I think, a like niche casual thing at this point in time. They were something that you could draft, especially in any sort of Kamigawa like remix limited environment. You know, Kamigawa Block Cube or that sort of thing. They're kind of a draft around. And I imagine there's some players out there who would love a new legendary Elder Zubera that could just like put a lot of them onto the battlefield.
Yeah. I don't think you could really draft Zuberas in regular limited. I know when I did like you said, the Kamigawa Block Cube, I just had there's 2 blue and 2 red that exist, so I just had those 4 in there and skipped the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that was still kind of marginal in terms of your ability to draft it. Yeah. Also, Pat does love to hit us with just like some obscure funny cards, so I think that's also part of the spirit that we should accept this card.
Yeah. Also, part of the idea of this challenge is show us what you think, like an elder of your whatever creature type, and like, sure, Elder Zubera spirit, like, yeah, give us the elder of the Zuberas. Maybe this is where, the Zuberas are about the Hondens going away, and then the Zuberas were like the attendants of the Hondens.
Yeah, Zubera as a word doesn't ring a bell for me, so I don't really. It might be a magic creation, but yeah, they have the same abilities as the Hondens, so they're definitely connected to those.
Yeah. Thanks for the submission, Pat.
Yeah.
Our next card is from Juliet.
Mm-hmm.
It's Eldest Queen.
Uh-oh.
It's 1 white, no white for a 3/2 creature elder nymph. It's a rare with lifelink, vigilance, exalted, and blitz for 1 and a black.
All right. I remember you and someone else scheming to make the briefest alphabet card.
Yeah.
So you got 5 words of rules text, of mana cost, and then, everything else is just in the card name and the creature type.
Mm-hmm. And no reminder text. That was I made one version with reminder text, and I was like, wait a minute, I can do this without reminder text and still get all of them.
This almost looks like a digital card because of it, because it's got a bunch of keywords on it, and they're all like the rules box is smaller than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got some cool art on here too. So 3 mana lifelink vigilance, you're already like a mid-tier common at that level. You have Exalted, which is quite good, and then Blitz. So you can bring this back. This is the one where you play it for a cheaper cost, and then it dies end of turn, but you draw a card? Is that what Blitz was?
Yes. Yeah, Blitz is was it the Riveteers? It's the Jund mechanic from New Capenna.
Mm-hmm.
You may choose to cast the spell for its Blitz cost.
Yeah.
If you cast a spell for its Blitz cost, it gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step.
So it can die in combat. You still get your card.
Mm-hmm.
Was it just because it's a keyword that has Z in it? Is that why it has Blitz?
It does, but I also wanted to come up with a fun design.
Hmm.
3 mana for a lifelink vigilance exalted 3/2 is fine. I mean, what it is it's a 4/3 vigilance lifelinker if it attacks alone, which
Yeah, yeah,
can stabilize and take over some
absolutely.
board states for
Hmm.
sure,
Hmm.
while also representing a blocker and or a bonus. That exalted pip can go anywhere.
Hmm. Hmm.
The other thing that this card does use is it's using the white mana as the W of
Oh,
the alphabet here.
okay. Then the J is the artist, maybe?
Mhm.
Okay.
Andrei Lisakov
Okay.
with a J in there.
All right. All right.
The thing that I was then trying to figure out was, okay, what's a good combination of these factors that the Blitz version makes sense, but it really is a different card?
Yeah, the black mode feels like you're getting like burn deck style value because if it was drain 4, gain 4, draw a card for 2 mana,
Mhm.
that's like probably a real card. And they can
Mhm.
chump block it or whatever, but then they lose a creature.
Mhm.
So the black version feels like quite a solid card. And then the white side, if you're just white, feels in kind of like an uncommon zone to me. Like 3/2 on its own is not a great vigilance body, but maybe life gain is kind of good for you.
Mhm.
So maybe between the two, you get enough options that you get up to rare.
Yeah. And I felt it neat that the vigilance on a mono black card it isn't really a
Hmm.
bend here because you aren't holding on to the card to
Yeah,
be able to block with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
This would be the first exalted card with vigilance, and
Hmm.
one of the first exalted cards with lifelink. The only two before are the 8 mana convoke
Oh,
vampire
yeah.
exalted thing, or the angel that
Hmm.
gives lifelink to a uh, attacking alone sort of person.
Yeah, in an exalted deck, lifelink does seem quite good.
Mhm.
All right, so next up from Plaidweasel VT, we've got Redcliffe. This is a legendary land elder town. It also has a color indicator green, red, white at rare.
Mm.
If you control a mountain, forest, or plains, this land enters untapped. It has indestructible, and when Redcliffe enters, return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand, and it taps for red, white, or green. It has been burned,
Mm.
been rebuilt, and stood for all peace in Ferelden. Oh, that's like Dragon Age. That's
Yeah.
the set that they're working on. Yeah.
Yeah, and Redcliffe is a like in BioWare games where like in KOTOR where you go to
Hmm.
Tatooine and Kashyyyk
Yeah.
and Manon, all the different places.
Yeah.
In Dragon Age Origins, Redcliffe is one of those. Here's one of your quest
Oh,
things is going to be,
one of your cool areas. Yeah. Okay.
and
Yeah.
then in Inquisition, your big starting area is about getting to Redcliffe, and then kind
Oh.
of seeing how it's changed in the many years since they you did game design ninjas and things like that.
Fair enough. I've played those games long enough ago now that I don't totally remember all that. So it's good that we have a Dragon
Mhm.
Age lore expert on the pod.
If you remember the place where you fight a whole bunch of undead,
Hmm.
that's Redcliffe. That's
All right. So we've got Redcliffe here. So it says like if you control a mountain, forest, or plains, this land enters untapped. I guess that's implying that it normally enters tapped. It's not quite spelled out
yeah.
on this card, but
I don't think I would have noticed that until you pointed it out, and now that I can't unsee it, it definitely does seem like it needs the alternative.
yeah, the flip of
Unless
that.
you
Yeah, unless you
yeah.
control. Yeah, yeah. Has
Mhm.
indestructible, which I feel like is just like a great little tool to convey something about a land that adds very little power to the land.
Mhm.
We don't really live in the world of like land destruction that much, like Armageddons and stuff.
Mhm.
And then has this enters trigger that actually seems quite potent for a land. Return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. This certainly seems like it would create kind of like a funny tension.
Mhm.
Do I play my land early and miss out on the trigger? Do I hold my land and hope to rip a different land next turn? It's a tri-land, so typically tri-lands you're trying to slam as your very first land of the game.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we got a lot going on with this card.
I also feel like I'm expecting, since we do have a possible way of having this enter untapped, that the spell-like part of this should be part of the. I think this was a tech that I first encountered in Eldraine with like the Witch's Cottage gingerbread cabin sort of thing, where hey, here's a way that you could have this enter untapped. And then when this enters, if it entered untapped, here's your little I think you get like the dwarven mine token. You get a food, or you put Witch's Cottage, you put a creature on top of your library, I think. And then like Mystic Sanctuary, I'm pretty sure was the blue one. This is if you've got different ways of doing town stuff, of course, then we also have the trade-off of legendary, which is also a thing that you have to think a lot about with your sequencing, because sometimes you'll need to tap Redcliffe for mana and then like play the next one and then tap it.
Yeah.
This isn't land-like to me. This feels like it's got enough other weird things to it in its own way.
This card right now, I mean, it is a cool card. It represents an important part to Dragon Age. It doesn't quite feel aligned with like a normal printable standard-y Magic card.
Mm-hmm.
But in the context of like, hey, some custom set you're going to play as a cube or whatever, now it's kind of entering the zone of like the playtest card, the Mystery Booster playtest cards that are like doing something like a little bit outside what would be printable, but are kind of interesting and complicated to play with. And I think it would hit that mark pretty well.
Yeah.
Like Tri-land that can sometimes enter untapped is already kind of a good enough card that getting also an extra creature card feels a little too generous.
And like it's straight up drawing a card, which I don't know every land that is out there across all the different Zendikars and Commander products and who knows what. But drawing a card on, like, you know, the Eldraine ones, put the card on top of the library or that sort of thing, that you can get. You can get card advantage, but they really try to make sure that it isn't like a full card's worth of advantage. Most of the time.
Or if you discard this to get the creature back, you know, something where I'm, you know, going even on cards, but I'm just getting like a specific thing that I want. That feels, a little closer to where a land would be.
Pay red, white, green, and sacrifice this. And it's like, okay, if I have all of those other things, I can.
Oh yeah, like a twist on the Triomes, where instead of cycling, I'm instead getting back a little guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
A kind of open question is, do we need both Elder and Legendary?
What makes a town an Elder town, you think?
You know, I don't know in infinite history.
Sure.
Like, Redcliffe is on the other side of Lake Calenhad. And Calenhad's bloodline is supposed to go back, like that's what Ferelden is, like historically about, is like the Calenhad bloodline, I think. At least that's my understanding. I'm going to get on my little bit of a soapbox and be like, Redcliffe stands for all peace in Ferelden. The place Arl Eamon is from, like Arl Eamon is not for peace or Ferelden. Do not trust the man personally.
All right.
Yeah. We got Wise. Is there a Z around that I'm not seeing?
Oh, great question.
If it said raised instead of burned, I think we could have it has been raised, rebuilt, and stood for all peace in Ferelden. I suppose Wizards of the Coast is down in the bottom corner. So there's the Z. The Z is on the card.
Yeah, it's got the Wizards copyright notice. Hot tip: if you're trying to print proxies, a lot of printing services will refuse you for putting copyright you don't actually have on your custom card.
That makes sense. And as indestructible, so it's hitting
Oh yeah,
the
that's it.
defensive
I
keyword.
like indestructible land. I think that might be my favorite thing about this. I guess we had them with the artifact lands,
Mhm.
but yeah, it conveys something really cool about a land without a ton of power.
Sure.
All right, what's next?
Our next submission is from Kern. It's Nicholas, Spreader of Cheer. It's
Hmm.
red and a green for a 1/3 legendary creature, Jolly Elder. It's a mythic with vigilance, and creature spells without a gift have gift a toy. And if the gift was promised, this creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. It is a jolly creature in addition to its other types. Players may promise an opponent a gift as they cast a creature spell. If they do, the opponent creates a 1/1 colorless toy artifact creature token before its other effects.
Hmm.
Whenever a player gives a gift, put a +1/+1 counter on each jolly creature.
All right, we got Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
1/3 jolly creature.
That it grows every time you cast a creature spell, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, Nick is jolly himself, so the next time I cast a creature, that creature's a little bit bigger. Well, this is all options, but what I'm probably doing is gifting a toy to an opponent and then growing Nick and the creature that just entered. The creature that's currently being cast sort of gets to share in the good cheer because it enters with a counter and then all other jolly creatures get a counter, so you don't get left out.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you've done that 2 or 3 times, now you've got like a whole bunch of 5/5s or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't paid a lot of extra mana. You've just given away a bunch of little 1/1s. So maybe you want trample creatures, you want ways to sweep the board, you want
Yeah.
ways to goad your opponent's toys. Yeah, a lot of ways to build around that.
So you don't want your creatures necessarily to have gift
Hmm.
sort of things, but maybe you play a bunch of the gift non-creature spells as like that's
Oh
going to be
yeah.
your non-creature things. So a lot of those are like gift a card, but
Hmm.
some of them are going to be the like gift a food or
Yeah.
different
Mhm.
things like that. Gift a tapped fish, and then be like, great, you get a tapped 1/1, and I put a +1/+1 counter on all of my creatures.
Oh, there's something I didn't realize about this. This is all creature spells, not just your own. So your opponent also has the option
Oh,
to join the gift giving spirit.
put a +1/+1 counter on each jolly creature, not just each jolly
Yeah.
creature you control.
Yeah. So if you can rally the table, you're
Wow.
playing feels very multiplayer. The people who are playing the creature decks, they're tired of the tyranny of the combo-y spell decks or whatever. And they're all going to team up to all gift each other presents, all make a huge board. And then yeah, Nicholas is spreading some cheer. That feels kind of in flavor. It's so uncommon in Magic that it took a reread to notice it.
Mhm.
I guess if you're playing this commander deck, you're going to advertise to your potential allies that that this is all the team up.
I think the idea of, okay, you and I are at this table, we're just gonna gift each other back and forth because you're picking a specific opponent
Hmm. Hmm.
and be
Oh
like, "Okay,
yeah, yeah,
here's the toys, and I'll get the toys, and you get the toys," and
yeah,
then we keep the 1/1s to ourselves in that way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that seems pretty fun and like novel play style. When I thought this was just your own creatures, it just sort of was like, hey, another way to play a Gruul creature deck or whatever. But that
Mhm.
you're trying to like work with the table again, like goad or other ways of like making sure that you don't get burned too hard by all the gifts you give away. A little politics, friendly politics. Yeah, kind of put this card over the top. I like it.
Yeah. This is, I think, a great, I mean, jolly, fun new creature type to kind of represent an idea. And the same with it, like
Yeah.
Phyrexian does. But I think this is a really fun use of Elder in particular.
Hmm.
The idea of like, oh, the jolly old elf. Like,
Hmm. Yeah.
here's this being outside of time in a
Hmm.
way. Here's this being from like an earlier time or who represents this particular kind of idea.
Hmm.
And I always wanted to play like like they have like the Archfey warlocks in D&D and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you know who's a great example of an Archfey? Saint Nicholas,
Oh
Santa
yeah.
Claus, our good old jolly old elf.
All right. Yeah, that was a great
And
card.
Kern says all letters accounted for. I believe it. We've got the J, we've got the Y, we've got all of the other things fit into this
Mhm.
card. I don't see anything missing.
The next card is from Auxiliary Otter, who says, "I got all 26 letters just in the reminder text." Okay.
Mhm.
We can always count on the all the submitters to to hit us with some novel ways of fitting some roles. This card is called Two of Ometekutli. That's 3 green green for a 6/4. All right, so we got finally some big creatures here. The legendary
Mhm.
creature Elder Shapeshifter, rare, as double team. All right, hell yeah, we're back in the arena zone. Um, I'll reread double team in a second, but we got double team, we've got blitz for 3 mana, and we got scavenge for 7 mana. So double team is an arena mechanic. When it attacks, if it's not a token, conjure a duplicate of it into your hand. Then both cards perpetually lose double team. So the idea with double team is once you attack with it, you get a second copy, but you don't get a third or fourth or fifth copy. And this is still legendary, so they're not going to exist on the battlefield at the same time. And
Mm.
part
Mhm.
of the reason the way you work around that is with blitz. So, like
Right.
we talked about before, I'm going to blitz this out, get my double team trigger, draw my extra card, and then have a future, the other half of a Metakutli.
Yeah. So you could pay 1 green green to blitz this out.
Mm-hmm.
So you're attacking with a hasty 6/4 that when it dies, you draw a card. You sacrifice at end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
Then a turn or two later, for 3 green and green, you play the conjured duplicate in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then if you have the extra mana, a turn or two later, you pay 5 green and green to scavenge the first one, the cardboard one, from your graveyard
Mm-hmm.
onto your the one that's on the battlefield. So you can go attack you with a 6/4, it goes away. I play my second 6/4, and then I
Mm-hmm.
scavenge my first 6/4 to make this a 12/10.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make this a 12/10, all with one starting card to do all that. And you drew an extra card in the process as well.
Yeah. 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 This seems like a monster in draft. Like, I just blitz this out on turn 3, demand a chump block ish. Like, my opponent really doesn't want to take 6 from the first half of this. I get a card, so I like killed their chump blocker, drew a card, put a second shapeshifter in my hand, and then I could blitz again on turn 4 if I want to, and
Mhm.
then also put some pressure on my opponent. And now I have 2 7-mana scavenges in my graveyard because conjured cards, unlike tokens,
Oh,
they actually
right.
exist in other zones.
That makes sense. And I also, with the double blitz, I've attacked you with 6/4s twice,
Yeah.
and I drew a card each time. So I've paid 6 mana to attack you with 2 6/4s and
Mhm.
draw 2 cards, which
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about those those numbers.
Yeah. 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 So you get like a really solid deal, no matter how you kind of split it up.
Mhm.
And this doesn't quite hit Commander for me, but it does hit Brawl, which is the arena commandery format. The one-on-one, both players have 25 life. Like, the 6 damage feels good enough for Brawl to me. It is monocolor, but hey, if you're jumping in Brawl, a lot of times you're just trying to show people your cool brew, and this would have a cool brew.
Yeah. I really think blitz and double team is a clever
Yeah,
combination together.
yeah, for sure. And the scavenge, really. This is like just like a fun, what would you call it? Melvin-y combination of abilities.
It's like Melvin Timmy in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like this compared to a thing that I've become more and more sensitive to the more like playtesting of different things I do is ways and times where sequencing or missequencing is punishing. And this card I think is great at, hey, however you do it, you're going to be doing fine. Like, you're
Mhm.
gonna be getting some value that you can use. Like, worst case scenario, you drew 2 cards. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's a friendliness to this card, I would say. Like, this is
Mm,
a card I could hand to a new player and be like, "Yeah, there's a lot of rules, but look, you can learn these 3 abilities pretty
yeah.
easily by playing the card. You don't have to understand all of it before you start playing."
Mhm. You can look at your options and decide what you wanna do for sure.
Mhm,
I guess, like, this feels like it would be a Giga House Unlimited.
mhm. Makes me think of the Gruff triplets as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as, like
Ugh.
like, a frustrating limited experience.
Yeah,
This might be more so just because it starts coming down on turn
yeah,
3, and even if you can deal with it, your opponent still gets to draw the cards off of it and everything. There's a lot
yeah.
that they
Yeah, Gruff had Trample, which was part of why it was so onerous,
Sure, sure, that's a
but
good
this
point.
is burlier overall or earlier in the game, this is gonna start messing with you.
Mhm. And, I think this is impressive to get all 26 letters in just the reminder texts. This has 1 fewer abilities
Mm,
than the Eldest Queen did, which is Lifelink, Vigilance, Exalted Blitz. This is Double Team, Blitz, Scavenge,
hmm.
but this has the reminder text to carry all of those extra little words.
Yeah, yeah.
Conjure a duplicate, exile from your graveyard equal to its power, scavenge.
Awesome. Alright, what's next?
Our next submission is from Xena. It's Join with the Prime Nothing. It's 5 blue and a green for a mythic, legendary, kindred, sorcery, elder reflection.
Mhm, mhm.
When you cast Prime Nothing, choose any number of non token, non mutated
Mm.
creatures you control. Create a token copy of each of those creatures mutated onto each other in any order. Exile Prime Nothing. And then it has signature spell. You may use this card as your second commander as long as it fits in your first commander's color identity and they share at least 1 creature type. You may
Oh,
cast it if you control a legendary creature, commander, or if your primary commander is in the command zone.
what was that last part? You may cast it if you control a legendary creature.
So legendary
Commander.
sorceries, I think, typically say you have to have like a legendary creature
Mm,
or
mhm.
planeswalker. And this says if you control a legendary creature, commander, or if your commander, your first commander is in your command zone. Which in a
Oh,
commander deck, if this is your second commander, you can just cast it indefinitely. But it is also a 7 mana spell. It it exiles itself, but I don't know if that does anything if it is your second commander.
yeah, because it would go back to the command zone, I guess?
Yeah, and then you would just pay like commander text to cast it for 9 mana instead of 7.
It is a funny, like, safety thing because if this were not a commander-related card, I could kinda understand why I could discard it and then, like, Torrential Gearhulk it or something, like, some way to cast it out of the graveyard. But that that
Yeah.
seems pretty narrow for the huge amount of power this card provides overall. Alright, so each non-token, non-mutated creature gets a copy of each other of those mutated onto it.
Um, I think you look at all of your creatures, and let's assume they're
Yeah.
all non-mutated, non-token for this
Yeah.
purpose. Then you basically create 1 stack of all of those creatures mutated onto each other. So you end up with 1 new creature that is some sequence or stack of all of the other creatures you control.
Oh, so you're thinking if I have 5 creatures, those 5 just,
Y
like, sit, and then I have a
Mhm.
new 6th creature that has all 5 in one big mush.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And what that mush looks like or does.
This is our second Simic combine arbitrary abilities card of the episode.
Yeah, this one has mutate, which does something,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you bounce that and you go, "What does it do?"
Oh, okay.
Does something.
I had read this sort of differently, where I thought if you have 5 creatures, you now continue to have 5 creatures, but with the other 4 creatures mutated onto each of them. That's how I read
Wow.
it.
Can you imagine like a big like even 5 is ridiculous. That is
Yeah.
ridiculous. But it's one of those like board stall states where
Sure.
like, yeah, I have 4 siege rhinos out and 3
Mm.
of the little manifest elemental and like we're just like, okay, the beginning of your upkeep, what do we do?
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be ridiculous. It's just the degree of ridiculous that we're dealing with. Let's go with your read because I think that's easier to talk about. So if I have 2 creatures out, I create a new 3rd creature that's basically the combination of those first 2. So I could get like 2 ETBs, or maybe one is like a little creature with a bunch of keywords and the other is like a big creature with no keywords. And so now I have like a big Bane Slayer or something. That's getting
Mhm.
close to 7 mana worth of stuff. I guess if you have a commander out, I don't know how mutate works with commanders.
Couldn't tell you.
So the name is the topmost card in the mutate stack. So if I have my commander and a second creature out, I can create a new 3rd creature that is my commander on the bottom and some other creature on top. So I could get a second copy of my commander, which is maybe why I want this to be a signature spell.
I think the reason why we have, or if your primary commander is in the command zone, it gets us the
Yeah.
Z. Similarly,
Oh,
exile prime nothing gets us the X that I don't think
oh,
we would get
okay.
otherwise.
You're getting our letter
S-
check. Yeah. All right. All right.
So join with the prime nothing, I think would be a secondary commander to the Quandrix dragon, the blue green
Oh,
Quandrix
okay.
dragon,
Tana, whatever. Yeah.
the old Arcades or the M19 Arcades, the strategist, the defender one, or you could
If we're talking about like mutating with commanders, I think
uh-huh.
the queen of mutate boot camp for the whole table is Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief. I played against this once. This is a blue green little flying fairy. When a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, you may copy that spell. That spell targets Ivy. This works with mutate, and this is
I didn't see that coming. Even though you said this is a mutate deck, I did not see, oh yeah, this works with mutate. I'm like, this works with mutate?
hell yeah.
Yeah, mutate's a cast trigger that targets, sure. And this is a non-human. Why didn't I think of this? Of course, mutate, naturally. Everyone remembers the mutate reminder text, right? And all of the
Hmm.
corner cases.
Yeah. People who have spent any time with the IV deck know that, like, at first it's just like, oh, cool, you got 2 of the like naturalized mutate creature triggers, or 2 of the like, rampant growth mutate creatures or whatever.
Mhm.
But it starts to go like really wild way faster than you'd ever expect. Join with the prime nothing is making sure that if somehow the IV player is not blown out of the game because people are tired of learning the mutate rules, that by 7 mana, you will ensure that the table will be tired of mutate rules, and you become the arch enemy just because of your rules baggage, I guess.
Except Jonathan Prime Nothing doesn't do a mutate cast trigger.
Yeah, they don't work with each other. They just work in the same deck. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
All right, let's learn a new set of rules, guys.
Yes, I also
Yeah,
noticed something. I don't know
yeah.
if you noticed this. Do you know what happens when this card resolves?
Nothing.
Nothing. When you put this card on the stack, it has a cast trigger that does something,
Yeah,
and nothing happens otherwise. When you cast Prime Nothing, choose any number, create a token copy, exile Prime Nothing. There's no abilities that it has when it actually resolves.
excellent, excellent.
Oh, that's
That's some
delicious.
prime nothing right there.
Yeah. Uh,
All right,
I
another Xena banger in the books.
Ivy Gleevel's Spell Thief does look like a, Seasons of War card
Oh,
to
oh,
me.
okay.
The
Yeah,
like, the commander sort of,
custom set. Yeah,
yeah, that's very fun to draft.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Thanks again, Xena, for that wild card. Our second last card here is going to be from James Dalton Bell, and that is Thuja, Pungent Cedar Lord. Cedar like the tree. It's 3 black green, so 5 mana for a 4/7 legendary creature, Elder Treefolk Zombie, and it has Vigilance and Reach. So 5 mana, 4/7 Vigilance Reach, already a super great stat line. It has 1 black green tap, sacrifice a land, create X 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. And then exile 2 land cards from your graveyard. Return this creature from your graveyard to your hand.
Mm.
A lot of power in this card.
Yeah. The squirrel generating ability, I'm like, "Oh, great. This makes sense as a commander for, like, just maximize the number of land cards in your graveyard."
Hmm.
Sort of play. Sure, that's a different angle from some of the other, like, black-green graveyard things, and you can play around with squirrel stuff. And then, okay, you have the, what's the feasting troll king? Sort of like, "Hey,
Okay. Yeah.
this is in the graveyard. You can get it out using." I think salvage titan is probably
Hmm.
the better. Salvage titan is exile 3 artifact cards from your graveyard, return this card from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah.
Those abilities are usually innocuous, except for that one time where this is the key card in a mill your whole deck and then
Hmm.
put Thuja Pungent Cedar Lord into your hand, and now that you know that you have this card in your hand, like, deterministically, by exiling 2 land cards and then putting this in your hand, you, like, discard this as part of discard a or pitch a green creature card to do et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, this card, no matter how you play it, is going to be good. And then if you work a little harder, it's going to be like really, really good. Like just some
Mhm.
amount of milling 5, 10, 15 cards off your library. Let's call it 7 lands in there. Make 7 squirrels a turn. Also, an incredible, just like defensive body. I have vigilance and reach, and I have a ton of toughness. Yeah, and yeah, you can go deeper. You can go even further from that. You can use this as a way to like get a discard engine going because you exile 2 land cards, put this in your hand, discard him, exile 2 more lands, bring this back, discard this again to some other effect.
Yeah.
This feels intense for like a standard rare or like a draft
Mhm,
rare.
mhm.
The grown test is pretty intense on this one because it's not only wins the game in 2 or 3 turns, it also can't be permanently killed without exile. But if this were like just like a flavorful card in a squirrel commander deck, like a precon or something, easy 2 thumbs up there. It's fun to have a
Mhm.
commander that's not a squirrel themselves, but is the commander of a squirrel deck. That's just like a novel, fun flavor. So a lot of great things going on with Thuja.
Or as like I can't remember the term for, like, a secondary commander.
Oh yeah,
That they'll
yep,
put in a
yep,
deck where, like, okay, the main one is this squirrel, and so, okay, hey, if this isn't your commander, then the recursion ability, makes more of an impact, but hey, if you want to, you can put this in the commander spot and then maybe shift in some of the other graveyard black-green cards you already have or
yeah.
things like that.
You could totally imagine the face card of that commander deck is like more about whatever this set is about, and has some
Mhm,
keyword that's unique to that set, and like pumps a variety of creatures or eats tokens or whatever. And then Thuja, you can
mhm.
swap in, and a lot of the same cards work. Absolutely. You don't even need to be a squirrel deck. Like just 5/1/1s. Just cast an overrun, and you're dealing a ton of damage. Uh,
Mhm. My instinct is this card is so hard to kill.
hmm.
I would maybe fold this sacrificing itself into the squirrel generation and, like,
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
reduce the mana
that's pretty
cost
novel.
on that.
Yeah,
And so you basically sacrifice this and a land, maybe you pay, like, black green like, 1 black green hybrid or whatever,
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
and then you're creating based on the land cards. Then you're potentially exiling 2 land cards, and then you're putting this back in. You need other ways to get land cards in your graveyard if you do that sort of thing, but maybe there's some way to I
yeah,
would just think about tuning back to kind of thing because 4/7, oh, and then you can get this back. It's like, yeah, but when when is my opponent killing this, that I
yeah.
can actually get it back?
Yeah, that's an interesting way to kind of dial it a little closer to like a standard draft card if that's what the objective was. Like it
Mhm,
has to sacrifice itself, which also feels very circle of life. The rotting tree is the home to many squirrels. And then when those squirrels like when they die, then Thuja comes back, or
Mhm.
it makes some flavor sense too. That Thuja, like when Thuja dies, a lot of squirrels are born. It can live there. Um, yeah, I think this is a super cool card, and like you said, there are some ways to tweak it if we need it to fit a different context. So I like this
Mhm.
card a lot overall.
Yeah, totally.
Something I say a lot about in James's cards. James like really hits the mark.
I feel fairly confident we go with the J in the card name, and then I see the Y, the Z, and the X, and the
Squirrel, you
W.
get the cue
So
there.
yes, scroll with the QU.
Oh, is that the was that why we have a squirrel on here?
That makes sense. I mean, we didn't even think about that being like it just made sense for the card, and I like that when
Mm,
the ability or the bonus point to kind of just makes sense on the card itself.
yeah. Great submission.
Our last card here is from Crafted Lava is True. It's Schoolyard Bully.
Hmm.
It's 2 in a red for a creature, Elder Child. It has
All right.
reach, and this creature can't be blocked by creatures younger than it. This uses timestamp order. It's a 3
Oh.
2. It's a 3 2 for 2 in a red reach.
Okay. This would have been an absolute mystery booster banger. You could even imagine the little black and white art of this bully
Mm-hmm.
lording over much larger creatures because they're younger in timestamp order. Oh, and
Mm-hmm.
Elish Norn just came out. I don't care. I'm bigger than that.
It depends on which Elish Nord. This might just not be on the battlefield anymore.
You know what? That's a great example. Still can't be blocked by the Elish Norn though. Even
Right,
though
right. We put a plus and plus on counter, so it's still surviving. It's a good
yeah.
one.
Not my best example, but yeah, Elder Child, very funny. Yeah,
Mhm.
just a premium comedy card here.
Lava says doesn't contain the whole alphabet since they're still learning it. Which, yeah,
Oh,
eh,
okay.
I hope by the time the kid becomes a bully, they've learned
Damn.
the alphabet.
Hmm.
I I mean, not to like really dredge up ain't like our childhoods or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, when do you remember like bullies starting to be
Uh,
like 'cause I'm like first grade is probably
I
about
would say
right?
second grade.
Sure.
First grade for me was like a utopia, and then second grade is when the hierarchy set in somehow. I don't know why I remember that.
There's a mean horse girl, uh, who would always kick me in the shins,
Oh,
and yeah, it's
there you go.
that's it's childhood sometimes. Sometimes you go, "Well, I guess this is just a fact that is true about about the world."
Yeah, I don't really remember any. I guess I'm getting too old. I don't remember any of my specific bullies from childhood.
Mhm.
Uh, Maybe that's good. I was thinking of somehow this put me on Rugrats when we were trying to figure out like ages,
Sure.
because like what is her name? The
A
blonde
Angelica?
Angelica. That sounds right. She's a little bullyish, right? But she's only like 3, so maybe you can be a bully, or at least a fictional bully, when you're 3 years old.
Mhm. Yeah, I do think it is the, like, hey, if there's somebody younger, there's a power differential, that comes into being.
The stereotypical like short older brother, tall younger brother, and then the younger brother never quite gets the edge over the older brother.
Mm. My girlfriend has been telling me to read Full Metal Alchemist, so I've been
Oh, okay.
putting it on my list.
All
That's what I
right.
think
Yeah.
of as, like, tall younger brother, short older brother.
Oh,
As
okay. Yeah. Gigantic robot. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah. This is a great one. Maybe we can pick one or two favorites from these. What are some of the nicest ones?
Yeah. I loved the Sphinx of Black Quartz poll, but it's also not a completed card, so it's hard to
Hmm.
to put that up. Living the Dream of Grandma Zoob is, shout out to the people who just still love the Zuberas.
Hmm.
And there are some fun things here. I think the Jolly Elder is going to be my pick. I
Okay.
mean
Okay.
that's in my wheelhouse. Nicholas Spreader of Cheer
There you
from
go.
Kern.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna lock in the 2 of Amekta Kutli The
Mm,
like double team blitz scavenge one.
sure.
This is the perfect card, if you want to play 3 games of Brawl after work or whatever. Like you just queue up this deck. You don't have to think too hard. There's plenty of hooks to build around. Like there are plenty of cards that are great with this card and that fit well in a deck. But also you just get to fling this card out of your hand onto the battlefield, attack with it, and then just get another copy and just keep the mayhem going.
Great
Yeah.
job, everyone, for rising to the bonus point.
Yeah.
The ABCs. It's optional, but people really.
The nerds, they're here.
I thought they would have fun. That's not a normal thing that you're asked to do in a Magic design, and it turns out it's not that like difficult to do,
Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The joy of a medium difficulty bonus point. That's always what we're hoping for.
Mhm.
This challenge did feel like slightly nonsense to me on the way in, but we actually got like, I would say even higher than average quality cards submitted this week.
Yeah. Yeah, some of these really, I think, with just 1 or 2 tweaks could be real standout cards.
Some great chuckle cards too. All right. The end of one challenge means the beginning of another. Juliet's picked up another one here. What? You're once again surprised that
I'm just totally surprised. I'm surprised that we have another design challenge. Let me see if I can come up with one right off the top of my head here. So for June, our design challenge is going to be finality fantasy. Design a creature that mentions finality counters. These are a relatively recent addition to
Yeah.
Magic, which basically means, hey, a permanent with a finality counter, when it would leave the battlefield, it exiles, right? It's
Mhm.
usually used to make recursion less recursive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It allows you to have like better reanimate effects than you normally could because it can't reanimate the same thing over and over, which is pretty crucial.
Mhm. And then we've got some pretty big bonus points for this one too. The
Yeah.
first one is Juniverses Within.
Hell yeah.
So, design a Universes Beyond card and its Universes Within counterpart. They should be they should be mechanically identical. So you're designing one mechanical card, but if you
Yeah.
want to design a Universes Beyond card that captures your fancy and also come up with Universes Within, or vice versa, you can make that together and submit those 2 cards as kind of a single package.
Yeah, yeah.
Your other bonus points are Final Fantasy. This card could be the last spell you cast in a game, which that's pretty open ending. There's a lot of things that could be there. And Final Fantasy, if you do design a Universes Beyond and Universes Within card, make the 2 cards different genres. Like, I think Zethi Arcane Blade Master is a great example, or how kind of some of the Innistrad cards work in that sort of space.
Yeah, we had the like Stranger Things cards that all became Innistrad cards, like you're saying. And then Zethi is this like cool laser swords lady and is Chun-Li from Street Fighter
Mhm.
in the Universes Beyond version.
And
All
that all
right.
is going to be due June 27th.
All right, and that'll be it for our podcast for the week. Hop on the Discord. That's where all the action is. We've got a couple set channels going. Like we mentioned, Plaid Weasel's working on some Dragon Age cards, but we've also got Outpost Zero, which you might have heard of a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
and plenty more sets to get in on. Anything you want to tell people about outside of the Discord, Juliet?
I want to say big thanks to everyone who came by the Moonshot Network's big fundraising charity stream that we did in
Where'd that
just
end
at
up?
the end of May. We raised over $8,200
Oh,
for
wow.
Advocates for Trans Equality,
Very
which
nice.
was I put in a lot more work in the like production side of things this year, and I'm happy to see, it's kind of a fun thing when like you get more deeply involved in something and then it's the biggest one that has happened yet, and you're
Oh,
like, yay, that's great. Like,
I
I mean,
helped.
not
Yeah.
just for me, but also
Yeah.
like that's a fun
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
that
That's
was
awesome.
a really great time. We've got some more exciting things coming up. There's a lot of like, hey, if we hit this number of thousands of dollars, we'll do we're going to be doing like a theme week of streams based on the theme of Princess Week
Okay.
sometime
Okay.
later this summer.
Right.
We've got a lot of different projects kind of coming up, but I'm glad to be done with. There's a lot of work putting the stream together and everything, and so
Yeah.
going to be taking time to build up steam for the next big stuff, which is I think at the end of July when we put on a production of Hamlet.
Ooh, that's in your wheelhouse, huh? You training all
That's
the other streamers on what they need to know about Hamlet.
it's going to be a fun twist on that
Oh.
that set of words, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I'm going to say, what should people come check out? Come check out the Discord. Come hang out. Come
Mm-hmm,
talk to
mm-hmm.
us. Come see what's going on and share your designs. It's the summer.
Yeah. Maybe some free time for some people too. That'd be great. If
Yeah.
you need to get in contact with us, Discord is probably the easiest way to do that, but we're also both on Blue Sky.
Mm-hmm.
But most of all, I'd like to thank everyone for listening.
A is for the apple that he gave to me, but I found a worm inside. B is for beloved that I called to him before he left my side. And C what he did, that's D. Did it to poor old me. How could I be such an emotional fool? F. I could sing the whole song, but that's
I like the F after the fool.
G is for the gentleman I thought he was when he first said hi, H-I. J is for the joker that is Jimmy B, the man who made me cry, that's a C. And K, well, it's just not okay to kiss and then run away. Leaving alone without leaving a letter for Langtree. This is Miss Langtree's lament from Over the Garden Wall.
Oh.
M is for the misery he left me and never to return again. Oh, what a poor fool I've been, queuing in line for him. And are you the one for me? You say you'll come back to me. Why are you tempted to tease me? Oh, why not you, have got to understand the value of a woman's heart. V, why, W not why, did you think it was fine to X me from the start? And why, yes, why, is the question that's on my mind. Oh, why? Why did you leave me right before reaching our zenith? 1 is the number of men I've loved, and 2 is the times I'll say it's you. 3 is the number of days you've been gone, but it feels like 4 times 2. 8, at the hour the sun goes down, I remember life with you around. I wish I had 9 lives like that one. And it's a cat who meows because 9 lives.
Oh.
This is of course from was it School Day Blues is the episode. Schooltown Follies is the episode of Over the Garden Wall, with teaching the woodland creatures how to spell and read.
Mm-hmm. That's a funny song. That was a great time.
Yeah.
I don't want to laugh over you to distract you, but I was having a good time.
That's the alphabet.
Yay!